He's making like squeaking noises and like running around on the floor.
Okay, sweetheart, we're going to go to the doctor, okay? Would you like a toy? She's all sticky from all the ultrasound gel, but she's far too stressed to be cleaning that up right now, so just giving her a belly rub instead. You like that, don't you? Yeah, you like that, don't you? Sweet child. That's it. What's that? You got a doggy in a bag? It's Misty's doggy. Misty has a doggy in the bag. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So, I really want to make this video because I think it's really important. Some of you may know that I had a ginger tomcat who passed away on the 6th of June 2019. I've never really gotten over what happened to him, but it's not him I want to talk about today. But he was diagnosed with something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy when he was a kitten. It was just by chance that they happened to pick it up, so he was always really well monitored. They told me he wouldn't survive more than 2 years, so he was only a kitten at the time. And he lived to the age of 10. So there is hope. If you catch things early, there is hope. However, I want to talk about my other cat. I'm going to get her photo and I'll be back. She's beautiful. She's 14. So she's getting old. And in England, where I live, we've just had a heat wave. We had 2 heat waves with a break in between, and we've just got through the second heat wave, and she had slightly gone off her food, which is not abnormal in the UK. We're not used to extreme heat. We don't have aircon. Humans struggle to breathe. My cat's always hated heat waves. She's always, gone off. She's always found it hard to breathe in the humidity that can sometimes be 90% in this country. So I never really thought anything of it in regards to the heat wave, but we've been out of the heat wave now for about a week at this point. And I had noticed over the period of about 2 or 3 days, her food bowl was just not emptying. And I hadn't really seen her eat, hadn't really seen her drink. And so I was like, she's getting old. Is she struggling with mobility? Like, what's going on? I wasn't quite sure, but I didn't want to panic because she's done things like this before and it's been absolutely fine. But then it's now Thursday. On Tuesday morning, I had scooped the litter tray. I have 2 cats and I have 3 litter trays. She uses the pink one, and my black and white tuxedo cat uses a blue one. And then we've got an overflow just in case. And I'd gone to the toilet. And I have a toilet near my bedroom and my front room and stuff. So, yeah. I've been to the toilet and I sort of... It wasn't even a conscious thing, really. I had said to my mum the day before, you know, she's hiding in the bedroom and I'm physically having to pick her up and bring her out of the bedroom and into a social space. Like, I'm having to pick her up and move her. And then she goes back and hides in the bedroom. And, you know, that's really odd. And for a couple of days before this, my mum had come round. My mum just had surgery, so she comes to where I live because I live on a flat surface and she lives up a hill. And, you know, I help her as she does her little daily walk up and down the road, just to sort of ease the hip operation and sort of help healing and stuff. And she came in and she'd always have a cup of tea, sit with the cats. And my cat, Misty, her name's Misty, she loves our little blue glove. It's just like a grooming glove, but she loves it. It's her favourite thing in the world. And she loves it more when Nanny does it. So Nanny was doing the glove. We call it, you know, doing the glove. We know what that means. And my mum was doing her, and Misty is 14 years old. She's never hurt a fly. I mean, she's never attacked a fly. She's just the sweetest cat in the whole world. You know, so gentle, so soft, you know. If everyone was like her, there would be no wars in the world. There would be no hatred. There would just be love, because she is just that sort of cat. She's never attacked. She's never bitten. She's never hissed. She's just the sweetest soul. And my mum was doing the glove, and Misty swiped her. And Mum was like, oh, okay, I'll stop. She obviously doesn't like it anymore. And my mum had only been doing it for about a minute. So then I was thinking, that just doesn't seem sort of right to me. And that, so I thought I'd watch how she goes, see if I can encourage her to eat and stuff. I was just concerned that she might be getting a bit old. You know, sometimes when they get old, they need senior food, you know, or you need to change the food type. She'd been on steroids for a long time for a skin allergy, which I worked out was her food. I changed her food and she's not had a problem for 4 months now, over 4 months. And yeah, so I was like, maybe she needs a senior version of the food. You know, maybe she's bored. Maybe she got a bit of arthritis. I wasn't sure what was going on. You can't just phone a vet and say, you know, my cat's hiding in the bedroom, and, you know, she is eating, but she's not, you know, she's not her normal self. Because they would say to me in a heat wave, well, we are in a heat wave, of course she's not her normal self, right? Which has happened before. So I was like, trying to be patient. So this is Tuesday. By this point, we've been out of a heat wave for about 5 days. No, this was Monday this happened. Obviously Tuesday morning she was in the litter tray, as I said, and I just went into the room that the litter tray's in, and as she got out I looked down and I put a liner in the litter tray to see if I could sort of see if she was having like dribbled urine, or if she was doing full wheeze, or if she was a bit constipated or something like that, just so I sort of have something to go on. But I knew something was was not right, and it was obviously a bank holiday. It's very difficult to get a vet appointment unless your cat is seriously ill on a bank holiday, because, you know, normal vet practices are closed. You have to go to the out of hours, and the out of hours deal with emergencies, right? So I couldn't just phone up on the 3-day bank holiday that this was and say, you know, my cat's just, you know, being a bit quiet. She's in the bedroom. She is eating, but she's not eating as much as normal. She is senior. And we have been in a heat wave, you know. They would have said to me, take her to our vet on Monday. So, or Tuesday it would have been. So, yeah. So on Tuesday morning, I looked down into the litter tray as she got out, and her urine was like redhead ginger hair, ginger hair, sort of orange coloured urine. I knew instantly something was wrong, and this was what I was looking for, something that could give me a direction of what might be wrong. You know, otherwise they give me a routine appointment in a week's time, and I'm thinking, you know, I can bring her in a week's time, but am I gonna, you know, whatever. So I thought I'd try and entice her to have a drink to rehydrate her, because she might be dehydrated. If you ever see orange urine coming out of your cat's bladder, for God's sake, please, first of all, contact a vet. So, having seen that and thought about the things that had been happening, I thought maybe she's a bit dehydrated. So, I was like, I'm going to see if I'll try to get her to drink. And throughout the day, I could not encourage her to eat. She had nothing to eat all day. She had nothing to drink. She was refusing to even eat Dreamies. Now, I think they're called Temptations in America and Canada or something, but they're called Dreamies in this country. And my cat would, you know, climb Mount Everest for a bag of Dreamies. So that was off. That was really quite alarming, along with the urine. So I have been sort of squirting some water in her mouth to try and encourage rehydration, and she went to the toilet again. This was about 5:30 that evening. And I spoke to my mum, but my mum has to be able to come with me to the vet with her, because she needs constant reassurance, otherwise she gets scared of the traffic, because she's an indoor cat, and obviously I can't concentrate on driving and stroking her and keeping her calm and all of this stuff. So my mum comes and we take the glove and give her a glove in, and you know, keeps her calm, because she gets scared, and then if there's lorries and stuff going around, she's looking at them and she just goes wide-eyed. So yeah, hello, sweet child. Hello. This is the boy cat. You gonna come say hello? Come say hello. Hello. Go on then. Good boy. So yeah, and Mum was like phoning the vets in the morning just to see if we could get a routine appointment. So that's what I was gonna do. Then I saw her wee was even more orange than in the morning, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So I phoned the out of hours vet. You know, it's 170 quid to get your cat seen in the out of hours, first and foremost. So quite expensive compared to, you know, the normal £35. But my cats mean everything to me, so I would literally starve to get them sorted. So yeah, now I had something to go on, so I phoned up and I was like, you know, my cat's urine is orange. Like, when I say orange, I mean like really like redhead hair orange. And I said she's been off her food for a few days. Her sides feel a bit hard. She's breathing at a more rapid pace. I'm not sure if she's got something wrong with her liver. She's not jaundiced right now. She's not yellow. She's still pink. But you know, she's been hiding away in the bedroom. Something's just not right. And she's not eating or drinking, and she hasn't eaten or drank for about 2 days now. Obviously the Monday was a bank holiday, and then the Tuesday I was trying to actively encourage her to sort of have something to eat and drink, like really taking care of her, but even the encouragement just wasn't working. And they said, okay, bring her in. So I took her in, and they did some tests, and she had some white blood cells in her urine. She had some normal blood cells in her urine that shouldn't be there. Her pH balance was quite high, and her bilirubin was borderline. Bilirubin signifies something wrong with your liver. So, you know, when they said to me, we've given her some pain medicine, it could either be UTI or it could be a problem with the liver, but we won't know what's wrong until we can get a liver blood test done, and we can't do that until tomorrow because there are no labs to process it. Right, so to go to my normal vet first thing in the morning and tell them, I had a little tiny slip with the information, tell them my cat needs an urgent liver blood test panel done, please. And they'll review her then as well, but that she wasn't at a point where she was significantly ill, and to try and continue to syringe her some fluids, which I have been doing anyway. So that was fine. So we got home from the out of hours vet about 9 o'clock, 9:30, and she had a little chew of some tuna, which was nice to see, and she fell asleep with me, and then I woke up at about 1:30 in the morning, 1:45, something like that, to my cat sort of twitching, and I'm going to insert a video in here of what was happening. It is not nice it's not horrific, like there's nothing horrific, it's just the way she's breathing, saliva coming out of her mouth. She couldn't breathe.
Yeah. You're making like squeaking noises and like rolling around on the floor.
Okay, sweetheart, we're gonna go to the doctor, okay? When I've been to the vet earlier in the evening, they said to me, you know, her lungs sound good, her heart sounds good, you know, so we're not worried about anything like that. We think it's probably just a UTI, which can make you feel really shit. Fair enough, I thought. So yeah, took her to the emergency vet again. My bill is now 130 quid plus the medication, so you know, I've already just spent I think 175 quid, and now I've got another 160 quid on top. So you know, it wasn't great financially to have had to go back to get the diagnosis that I needed. And I took her in, and the vet looked at my cat, took one look at her and ran with her, and I sat in the waiting room for nearly an hour, with no news, and other members of staff were going down, and I thought, she's in trouble. She's really in trouble. They then led me into a back room where she was put inside this, it's like a cat carrier but with plastic over it as well. And it's an oxygen chamber because she was unable to breathe for herself. She was oxygen dependent at this point. Without the oxygen, she would die. And obviously this was a shock to me because, you know, I'm being told she's probably just got, you know, a water infection, and that can make you feel a bit shit. So now suddenly my cat's like critically ill. And the vet came out, she sat with me and she said, what's happened? And I just said what had happened. And I said, and then I woke up and she couldn't breathe. And she said, yeah, she said, she is very poorly. She said, she is on some oxygen, in an oxygen chamber at the moment. And she's been given some drugs, and she said, obviously she's quite old. 14 is, you know, she's a domesticated short hair, so 14 to 17 years in this country is good for a domestic short hair. So, you know, she's up there. And she said, we've done some more blood tests, we've checked her bladder, and we've done a scan of her chest, and she showed me the scan. She said, this is what we would expect to find in a cat, and this is what we found in yours. Her left atrium is huge, like really huge in comparison. I mean, the normal one looked like that on the scan. My cat's one was like that. So her heart can't pump around blood, which is why she was suffocating. So they gave her some injections of furosemide as a blood thinning medication to try and get the blood around her organs easier. And she said to me, I can't believe this happening to me again. She said to me she has hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And her lungs are full of edema, which is fluid on your lungs. Basically, she's drowning. My ginger cat, he had the same condition. He was diagnosed as a kitten, about 15 weeks old, and he lived till he was 10 years old. So yeah, but I came home on, he was having partial seizures when the weather changed. It wasn't real like hard hitting seizures. It was just like his arm would just get stuck for about a minute and then it would just go. So he still had really good quality of life. So he was put on phenobarbital, which is an anti-epileptic drug, and he was also on furosemide, which helps the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, because what happens is, just going to draw a diagram. Say you've got a cliff edge. What happens, this is our cliff, and what happens is cats go really well and it gets progressively worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, like that. And then all of a sudden, they do this. And they just sort of fall off the edge of the cliff. And what the furosemide does is just pull this back a bit to give you extra time. That's basically what furosemide does. You can't cure the problem. You can't fix the problem. It is genetic. So nothing I did with either of my cats caused this. They just have a gene. Even in humans, if you have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, it's because you've got a dominant gene in your body that causes that to happen. And it's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when. So for our whole life, this was what her destiny was. And so she's on furosemide. It's been a difficult 2 days. I brought her home yesterday from the vets. Obviously, she was like critical. The vet said to me when I had taken her in and waited and she's in the chamber, she said you could see her, but I couldn't touch her. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't open the carrier because it had to be, you know, highly oxygenated. They had to put lube all over her nose and her eyes to sort of stop that drying out from the oxygen. Her skin's all dry. And she said to me, you know, your cat is very unwell if she survives the night. You know, we're going to give her we're going to do everything we can and give her the best chance, but she might not survive the night. We can only give her treatment, and she might respond, she might not. So I came home. I got home. Now I was in the car to the vets, and I got to the vets about 2:05. I got out of the vets at just got 4 o'clock and home nearly by 5. And yeah, I sat and waited. And they were giving her, obviously, injections and stuff in the day. She survived. She's in the bedroom sleeping right now. She's not cured, and her prognosis isn't great. She's going to die, and she is dying. But the furosemide will give her less symptoms. And she's still got a few months. The vet said some cats even last a couple of years. Now, when my ginger tomcat got this and he went on furosemide, he lasted 18 months. So, yeah, there is hope. But she's at a more advanced age than he was when he started medication, because he's being regularly monitored. Whereas they couldn't even hear there was a problem when she went in the first time in the evening. So, you know, it's only when they get into respiratory distress do they realise, you know, can you see it? You can even scan, and unless they're quite acutely unwell, you just don't see it. And yeah, she survived, but please, this is so important, okay, if you've got a cat. Monitor their breathing rate. 15 seconds on your phone, their breathing will go up and down. That is one breath. If it's over 30 breaths, you need to be phoning your vet. If it's over 40, your cat's really unwell, okay? This is what my vet said to me. That is not right. It should be below 30, even for a cat with cardiomyopathy, below 30. So, yeah, there's that. She's currently at 24, so that's good. And she's not sounding like a snorkeler now. And I've just rubbed her belly and she enjoyed it. So, yeah, she's covered in ultrasound fluid all over her fur. It's just jelly, like her fur stuck together from gel, but I don't want to stress her out. She's only been home. She's not even been home 24 hours yet, so I don't want to stress her out by trying to clear this up. I'm just going to gently brush it with the glove every now and again, and each time a little bit will come off. I don't want to be putting her in the shower or anything like that. So, yeah. Monitor their breathing rate. If they start acting odd, they start breathing with their mouth open, if they start panting, vet straight away. Up and go. Straight away. The time is of the essence. But yeah, she's going to die. They can't fix the problem. There's nothing any of us could do. When that time does come, my mum came with me to the vets to pick her up. And we have requested that when that time comes, I would like her to be cremated, and I would like to bring her home. That's £375 to have a black cat urn and her ashes back, so I can bring her home and put her on the fireplace, and she can be in pride place in her home where she's happy. I don't have a garden, and I don't just want them to dispose of her. Like, if she's going to be cremated, she might as well come home. And then I'll do that with all my babies, and then when I die, we'll all be put together, and then we can all rest together. My cats are my world. My cats, you know, I like cats more than I like people. I love cats, you know, so much. They are everything to me. So this is really, truly heartbreaking, and I've been crying for 2 days. As you can see from the redness on my face, like I've got tear burns. It's just heartbreaking. It's awful. and you just feel so powerless. But today she's out of the woods, and this morning she took her medication like a trooper. I woke up. She actually woke me up half an hour before we had to get up to have some water. I could hear her drinking, so I was like, yes, she's having some fluids. So that was a celebration. I gave her tablet, and then she ate 8 of her. She's on a special diet for her skin, so she has kibbles because it has to be a special veterinary plan diet, otherwise it's gonna affect her skin, and she'll have to go steroids, and trying to give her heart medication, it's going to be hard enough 3 times a day without having to give her steroids twice a day. It's just not ideal. So yeah, she ate about 8 kibbles, I counted, as I was stroking her. And so that's good, because that means that she's coming out of the woods. So I do think she is out of the woods now. And she's been to the toilet as well, and that looks good. So yeah, I think she's out of the woods. But if your cat retreats off somewhere, don't just put it down to the heat wave. Even if it's normal for them, still get them checked, please. Obviously my cat went to the vet early and they still missed it. So had I have gone even days earlier, they still would have missed it. Because they don't routinely just ultrasound a cat. Unless there's something wrong, or they can hear something wrong, or they can hear a murmur. There was nothing. No, they couldn't hear anything on auscultation. And so this was the earliest we were going to catch it, if at all. And so this has given her a chance, actually. So yeah, but she's been quite unwell, and I've just cried for 2 days straight. I barely slept. I'm exhausted. I'm literally fueling myself right now on chocolate and Red Bull. And I need my mum to come here and sit with my cat today so I can have a shower, because I'm scared to leave her. Now, what happened with my tomcat, and this is why I'm scared to leave, it's a cardiomyopathy, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Her left atrium is like this. On ultrasound, it's obviously not like that in real life, because that would not fit in her chest, but that's what it looks like on ultrasound. My boy had a seizure in the morning, early out of the morning. We had a thunderstorm, so it wasn't unusual. I gave him his anti-epileptic medication for that. Went to the shop to buy a can of salmon so that he could have a nice treat, make him feel better. And then I went to my mum's house because I was giving her a lift to the vet. I thought he was going to be fine because he'd been there, he'd been snuggling me, on my hand. He just seemed absolutely normal. Nothing felt odd, nothing was out of the ordinary. He was recovered like he does always with his seizures, so I wasn't worried, really. Took my mum to the vets with her dog so he could be vaccinated. Drove her home, and then I said, look, I need to go home. I don't know, I just was like, I need to go home, see if the boy's okay, make sure he's not had another seizure or whatever. And when I came home, it looked like I'd been burgled, and I'm just going to get my sandal to show you. So this is him. It's got a bit of dust on it. I've just taken it off the shelf. Not dusted it for about 3 days, so it does gather. And these are my sandals. This is where he was in so much pain and discomfort. He was chomping down on my sandal. And here is where he was just so scared and anxious. He was just, you know, the sandal was all there was. I can't believe how much dust has come off these sandals. Sorry. So yeah, I found him in the bedroom, high-pitched, yelping. I knew something was wrong at that point. When I come home, it looked like I'd been burgled. Like, there was just stuff everywhere, where he had been trying to get himself up, but was just pulling everything down. I found him laying next to my bed in the bedroom, chomping on my sandal. When he saw me, he was meowing and lifting his head up. He was like, "Mummy, help me, help me, help me." I picked him up and I held him. And, you know, he gave me some nudges. And then I tried to stand him up on the bed. He couldn't stand up. His legs just went. And then I felt the back of his legs, and his legs were frozen. The front ones were warm. His back legs were completely frozen, really cold. And at that point, I knew he was paralysed from the waist down, or from the back legs down. He had a blood clot. And it was awful, and I took him to the vet, and then he couldn't breathe, and this embolism was moving from his legs to his lungs. And I put him to sleep, and it was awful. And blood clots are very common in cats with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Really common. So that could happen to Misty. Also, you know, sudden death could happen. So I could leave the house and come back 10 minutes later and she'd be dead. And that's just really, really scary. And that's why my mum's going to come sit with her while I'm in the shower today, because I'm scared to go out the house and leave her just in case she does need me. Some might say, well, why haven't you just put her to sleep, you know, with medication for a few more months? She could live a perfectly happy, normal life, which I'm going to fill with so much love and joy and playing and tummy rubs and belly kisses and the gloving. You know, and I'm going to cherish her, and I'm going to make her so sick of being loved. She is wanting me to go away. She gets a lot of love anyway, but now I'm really going to, you know, just shower her with it. Like, normally if she's asleep, I would just leave her, but now I'm going to be in there checking her breathing rate. Important to do when they're asleep and not dreaming. And then I'm just going to, you know, snuggle her and kiss her and brush her and, you know, just make a real fuss of her. Because normally she has to share that time with Mittens, you know. But you know, one-on-one time with Mummy. And she'll live a normal, relatively nice life as long as she continues to take her medication. A normal sort of life. She could have, I asked him if she had weeks left or days, or he said, no, I think we could be more optimistic than that. You know, I think we're talking, you know, months. She could even last years, but it's probably likely more months. Probably about within the next 6 months. But 6 months is a lot of time to be happy and to be loved and to be showered with hugs and kisses. And as long as she remains, you know, symptom-free and not in pain, which is what they can do, she won't feel any different because the medication she's on will help her to breathe. So, you know, she's got a good quality of life to come for however long we have left. and I'm going to cherish that time with her. But yeah, please know the symptoms of cardiomyopathy. Go online and check what diseases your breed of cat might be more susceptible to, so you can keep an eye on them. I'm really gutted about this because I know that when baby had his medication, he had a good quality of life. He would run around, he would play, he'd be happy, purring, snuggles. He was quite normal, like he was before he was ill. But I know in the final day it might not be like that for her. But that could be months away, years away. But I have to give her medication now 3 times a day. But, yeah, there's that. Obviously, I'm not gonna try and caption this video because, you know, I want to spend time with my cat. But, you know, in the future, when things are done, I'll come back and do it. But right now, I just want to spend time cuddling her, loving her. So, yeah, I hope that's understandable. Yeah, just make sure you know the symptoms so that you get your cat to the vet straight away. You know, even fast breathing that she was doing a few days before. It wasn't extremely fast. It was only like 1 or 2 breaths fast, and, you know, it was humid, so that would be expected, but that probably was my sign. Again, we're on a bank holiday. I can't just phone up and say, oh, you know, I know it's been a bit hot, and I know we've got a lot of humidity and the weather's a bit funny, but can someone check my cat's breathing rate? Because it's 2 breaths higher than it normally is. No, they would laugh me out of the room. But yeah, oh God. I just love her with my whole heart. So it's really hard. But yeah, please know the symptoms of cardiomyopathy, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Breathing, not eating, not drinking, you know, anything. Please vet immediately. Always important to have your cat insured just in case this ever happens, because let me tell you, it's expensive. Now my cats are insured with the best pet insurance there is in this country for lifetime cover, £8,000 a year. I think the top cover anyway, I think it's £8,000 per condition per year. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, please just check. Obviously, I've got Mittens, and he's a domesticated short hair as well. So, you know, I'm gonna make sure that they monitor him, make sure that, you know, I can find out if he has it as soon as possible, and we can get sort of ahead of the tide a bit. If he does, I feel really gutted because, you know, in my life I've probably had 10 cats from the day I was born all the way up until now in my mid-30s, well, early 30s. And I've had, you know, Misty was my first cat, like my own, not my family's, but my first cat. So it's really hard when it's your firstborn cat or whatever. And As was my second, bless him. And, you know, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy affects maybe 10 to 15% of cats in this country, my vet said. So on average, over 10 cats that I've known in my life, minus Mittens, because obviously we don't know if he's got or not right now, but the 10 cats that have been and gone in my life, and I mean, these are not just like my cats, but like cats I grew up with that then, you know, lived with us when we were growing up. You know, was my sister's cat for a couple of years when we were living together. You know, families' cats that left home and went their own ways, but their cats just died normal death of old age and stuff, or they never really die nicely, but you know, normally it's just a bit of arthritis or something. You know, both of my cats have had it, and you know, on average it should be 1.5 cats, so I think I've just got unlucky. You know, there's nothing I could have done. There's no cure, there's no prevention. It's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when. And you can't detect it until it's later on in stages in a way, unless you get lucky, like with Az. We were lucky that, you know, he was diagnosed as a kitten, so he was always monitored for his lifetime. Yeah, but please just know what's going on, because I don't want anyone to have to see their cat the way that I saw my cat this week. It is horrendous, but she's in the bedroom now. She's quite happy. She sat on the bed with a little puppy in a sack, catnip toy, purring away. And I've just rubbed her belly and I'll insert that footage as well. But yeah, she's purring and happy as Larry. So she's, even though she's still poorly and she's tired, she's still purring and she's still letting me run around so I can rub her belly. And that means that she's not giving up. And if she's not giving up, I'm not giving up. So yeah, but obviously when it gets to a point where I think, you know, she might start suffering, then obviously I would not make her suffer. It's indignant. And, you know, we're so lucky that we have the opportunity to stop our pets suffering like that. Humans, we just have to suffer. We have to suffocate to death. So if we have like this condition, we would have to suffocate to get death, and be paralysed and be unable to go to toilet or move waist down or whatever. And, you know, it's just horrible. But I hope that's not for a while yet. But I've told the vet, you know, when that time comes, I do want her to be cremated. This is the end that I would like. Just because when Az died, I was so distraught I completely forgot to ask about cremation, because it was just such a shock to me, because he had been so well and they told me, you know, he's really improving, we could cut down his medication. We'll see him again in 3 weeks' time and we'll cut down his medication. A week later he was dead. So it was just a complete shock. But yeah, I think she's got some time left, which is good. Obviously it's heart-wrenching, but she ain't giving up, so I ain't giving up, and I'm gonna love her with all of my heart, as I always have. And yeah, please just be vigilant. If something goes wrong, don't worry about being laughed out of the room. Please contact the vet. Even if I would have done that, my cat still would have been in this situation. But, you know, if I would have noticed the breathing was actually this, and, you know, I feel like because it was a heat wave, I didn't really, if it would have been in the winter, I would have been like, right, something's really wrong. But because it had been a heat wave, and it was like one of the hottest the week before was the hottest heat wave on record, and then we had another one straight after. I just thought, you know, she's just fed up of the heat. I can't breathe in the heat. And no one on earth could breathe in the heat. So, you know, yeah. I wish, you know, that I had done something then, but she still would have been as ill. It was like 3 days ago. So or I think 3 days ago now, it must have been a couple of days before that, I noticed a breathing rate. Maybe not even that, I think the evening, Sunday evening, Monday evening, Tuesday morning. So, you know, it was like a day and a half, And, you know, when she was asleep, it seemed normal. It was when she was awake that it didn't seem normal. But I just thought with the heat wave, she's a bit annoyed. She's feeling, you know, just it's humid. She's feeling annoyed. But yeah, I knew something was wrong, but the vet reassured me that they just thought it was a UTI. She's in heart failure. It's not an UTI, is it? So, yeah. But I think she's going to be okay now for a while. She's through the woods with this one, so it's just giving her lots of love, lots of care, lots of nice food. Like, I'm not going to keep her on a strict diet now. I'm not going to keep her on sort of dreamies once a week. Like, if she wants some dreamies, I'm going to give her some dreamies, because at the end of the day, you know, she hasn't got, you know, a decade left. So if she wants to enjoy good food, I would want to enjoy good food. If I was 87 and dying in the hospital, I want ice cream and lots of it, please, you know. And so I'm just going to not overfeed her, obviously, but, you know, if I open her to tuna or tin of salmon, you know, I'm not going to give her the tiniest minute amount. I'll give her like this much now. Or, you know, I'll give her a nice bit. I'll still give her some dreamies with it, you know, nice meal. I don't think I have to be too worried about that now, because obviously I mean, it can't cause anything worse to happen. So, you know, the time she's got left, she's not a diabetic or anything like that. So it's not like that's going to happen. I thought that was her squeaking. It's not. It's the clock. Yeah. Just give her what she wants. Just give her lots of love. But yeah, please don't just think it won't happen to you or your cat. Please, 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 please be vigilant. And don't just put it down to a heat wave, because that was my mistake. Thank you for watching. I'm glad I didn't cry too much. I thought I was going to be a wreck, but I just cried so much that my eyes and my nose are just so dry. There's something left. And yeah, hopefully she'll be okay.